That was the weirdest technological glitch I've ever seen. Like, your voice sounded all high pitched like this, and my voice sounded like this. I've never
and computerized. Like your robot, it sounded like you were talking like this.
I love it. It's all
and
the
this is
players.
while I was trying to go through music theory on a song where I'm like, what note is that? Is it an F? Is an F to a B? And I was like,
yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, am I just hearing everything weird right now?
Exactly what, like, it's never, my thought is never something is wrong. My thought is immediately, I'm fucking up here, or I've just never actually listened to your voice before this moment. And it's like, I'm finally hearing him. He's got a little bit more nose than I thought he did.
I'm finally hearing him. I feel seen. Yeah, I mean, the other problem is that, you know, like as a brain injury guy, you know, that like every time something like this happens, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I smelling toast?
Yeah.
Am I, you know.
Do you taste tin?
You got to always check yourself on all this shit.
Oh, yeah.
It sucks.
I can only imagine. But my thought is never first like something's wrong with anybody else but me, you know? I think it's a definitely, It's always like, what's wrong with me? Why am I hearing this wrong right now? It was so weird. Anyway, glad we got it sorted out, and I just hope both teams have a good time.
God, and I hope when the people out there hearing this that we don't sound weird. I mean, maybe we'll get more followers if we did it.
We speed it up and distort it.
You do the lower voice, I'll do the higher voice.
You got it, babe.
I'm really happy to see you today, Stu. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, maybe I shouldn't do an affected voice either. Not like a cartoon voice.
I've started suggesting in some of the bands that I'm in that I switch some of the song genders. So I have decided that I'm going to sing "Man, I Feel Like a Woman," and sing it "Man, I Feel Like a Woman," like way down there.
Yeah,
I think that's a good call.
Yeah, why is that?
Because it amuses me when you hear the ba ba da 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 da, and
okay, boys,
and it's like, you know, and it's supposed to go, "Let's go, girls," right? And the Shania goes, "Let's go, girls," and I find it hilarious for me to walk up there, "Let's go, girls." I don't know why I find that funny. I just find it amusing that because it's not what it's unexpected. Let's put it that way.
What do you think the crowd thinks?
I don't care.
And there's your lesson of the day, musicians. Welcome to 2 Shots at a Royalty Check, brought to you by Venmo, Your Money, Your Move, and Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Let's get back into it. Do it for yourself.
Do it all for yourself. Well, I mean, Rick Rubin even said this recently, which is the audience comes last in your creative process. It's got to please you, and
in recording.
And I know that like when you're performing live,
Rick Rubin doesn't even play live.
Hey, now he has.
He's my template for a producer.
Yeah.
The board, outboard gear, I don't know. I just know it fucking sounds good.
Exactly. Well, I mean, the point is...
how do you know? I just
do, because look at me. I agree with you. There's a balancing act between it. It's like sometimes you have to... It depends on the environment. Depends on the gig. If you're looking to gather fans, then absolutely give a shit what your audience thinks. If you're Gigi Allen... Don't give a shit what you or actually, wait a second. Right. I need to rephrase that. Give a shit what to your fans. Wait. Never mind.
Here's what's so funny is like I am so fucking bad at lyrics that I really meant that. Let's go, boys. It was let's go, girls. I screwed up the very first part of that song that everybody knows.
Hey, what was the song you were...
All right, boys.
What was the song you were working on Theory with? What was the song you were working with?
Family Business.
Oh.
From Lawrence, my favorite band.
Yeah, they're fucking great.
Full stop.
Period.
They've made their way into the top 5. And it is... I will sing their praises from here to the mountaintops, and from the mountaintops to the valley, and from the valleys to the sea.
Yeah.
And it is the band I wish I was in, the song I wish I wrote. It's such a fucking great song because so it's a brother and sister, Clyde and Gracie, and they are Lawrence. And but the whole band is like, I think it's like 9 members, but they have like a horn section and backup singer. Like, they've got a full fucking bore band, right? Mm-hmm. And I love them because they're independent.
Yeah.
They had a shot at a deal at one point. In fact, Clyde tells a story about being brought in to talk to a label once. And, like, the label was basically like, I don't think anyone wants another Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
And then he took that and was like, well, thank you. Because, like, yeah, that's what I'm fucking trying to do. And you just said that I'm like Stevie Wonder. Like, that's my fucking goal in life, is to be that good. And I disagree with you. But I mean, like, that label guy, what a dumbass.
Yeah.
Why would the world not want that? Now, obviously, this is the kind of music that I am attuned to. It's got funky.
Yeah.
It's got
pocket
feeling. It's got pocket. It's got some junk on it.
Yeah.
They're New York based. It's and the horns and all that. And I was having this conversation generally away from Lawrence about somebody else with this, where it was like, God, funky music just fucking is great. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, it does not sell at all. No one cares.
It's so irritating.
Yeah, like, it's so hard to do.
Yeah.
You know, writing charts for fucking horns, for a 4-part horn section, so hard. There's, like, no reason to do it. And it can be programmed. You got to pay more members when you're on the road.
Yeah.
You know, when you could just track that shit out. And yet it's so exciting to me, but, like, it just doesn't sell that well. However, Lawrence is on the come up. Since I started, like, hitting on to them, they had a big, like, hit after COVID, around COVID. Dun, 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 yourself.
You really are bad with lyrics, aren't you?
I am right now. I have 1,000 things going on.
Yeah.
Baby, don't look back. Baby, don't.
Oh,
look
yeah.
back. That song. Yeah, big fucking hit.
Yeah.
That was like a sync. And by the way, it was a sync.
Yeah.
And they, but like, their back catalog is super fantastic.
Yeah.
And then now, coming into this year, since I've been sort of on them in about the last year or so and kind of watching, because I'm watching what they're doing, in between this, they have an album coming out. They booked a full-on fucking tour.
Yeah.
And by the way, none of the shows are being canceled. They're all selling out.
Yeah.
And I bought a ticket. I bought tickets for a show that's going to be here in Denver at a 2,000 seater auditorium. Not a huge place, right? But, like, they're playing London at O2.
Wow.
They're playing Radio City now. They opened for the fucking Stones at MetLife.
Yeah.
They have a song with Meghan Trainor on her new album. I mean, they are just exploding, and yet still, as they make their way out west, still so many people have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And it's just a great example of, like, how a band can blow up and not have national success.
Yeah, right?
And it just blows my mind how that can happen.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, they're putting out these videos that are getting, you know, a few 100,000 views, and, you know, just like, there's a song, Guy I Used to Be, that we put on one of our TikToks probably about 4 months ago, 3 months ago, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
But like, they're fucking great. Get into them. Lawrence, Family Business.
Yeah.
But this song, I may just do a quick shot about it because it's perfect. It's 3:18.
Yeah.
It sets the hook with 2 bars, basically, and then right into it. And it's dynamic all over the, you know, starts, it's kind of smaller, and then and it's big, and then it comes back down.
Yeah.
And big again. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, this is what music should fucking be. And I don't care. Okay, back to the very beginning of this podcast. They should not care what anyone thinks. Keep doing this.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you all my money. I want whatever you're going to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, guess what my favorite thing about that band is?
What?
Every single fucking song I have heard from them, every single is just a bucket of joy. It is fucking happy, upbeat, fucking kick-ass, great pocket, just good feeling music, you know?
And they slugged it out in the colleges and small like house parties in New York, tri-state area.
Yeah.
And so like they've got the chops. They know what it's like to play for 20 people in a bar and like 100 people in a living room, in a sweaty living room at Cornell or whatever. Like they have the chops. They're not just put together. And I've seen some of their live footage. It's fucking amazing.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
That's going to be a fun live show. They're coming this way in what, October?
Yeah, by the time they get here, they're going to be huge.
They're going to be
it's just been blowing up.
Yeah.
I think they're on like the Howie Mandel podcast.
Fantastic. He's blowing more shit up.
I'm trying to interview him for the magazine because it is like, for people to understand this, the reason why we're talking about them is they are an independent band. They literally do not have a full back label. They have a producer that started a label that believed in them, and they're all in.
And they have a distribution thing.
Everyone in the band does their fucking job. So, like, there are horn players doing social. Gracie is doing, like, the books, and Clyde is, like, they're all doing it.
Yeah.
At this point, they've probably hired some people, but
they
like
still have to give them the content.
You
know, they still have to provide the content. And the fact that how many pieces is their live band? It's not a small band either for them to take out.
I think it's 9, but I'm not sure.
It's
a lot.
That's a big band. I mean, like like looking at Zach Brown band now, like they just keep adding members. You know, it's like 14 people or some shit like that now. So I don't know, but we'll see how big Lawrence is by the time they arrive in Denver.
8. It's 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Fuck yeah.
And they're on Beautiful Mind. That's the label.
Yeah.
Don't Lose Sight was the big song.
Yeah.
That was featured on a Microsoft commercial. But that also, it got into a top 20 Shazam and then entered the pop charts and shit.
Yeah. I remember hearing it all the time.
Highest charting fully independent single in 2022.
Wow.
Which led to like a late show with Stephen Colbert and a Jimmy Kimmel thing. And then they opened for like the Jonas Brothers on a 60+ show tour.
Oh, how awful.
And I mean, just amazing.
That's really cool.
Like you can, and that is like right now, right? This is, I mean, they've been together, well, they're brother and sister, but I mean, I think the band started 2013, 2014. But like, just so you fucking understand what it takes to make it, this is a band that has been together for over 10 years that you don't know about. That's played with the Jonas Brothers, the Rolling Stones. They've been on night shows and had massive syncs and radio stuff. And like, that is what it looks like for an independent to make it.
Yeah.
And they're still, who knows, like make it, right? They're making money now. Yeah. Obviously. But it's like what you would consider make it, meaning like pretty much most of the people you talk to would know who they are or like them or not like them.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, they are virtuoso musicians.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're very good.
Clyde, by the way, I think I mentioned this before. His father was Mark Lawrence, who's a filmmaker, screenwriter, director, blah, blah, blah. He did Miss Congeniality.
Oh, wow.
And Music and Lyrics. Those 2 movies. Well, like Clyde kind of wrote some song in Miss Congeniality and became like the youngest member of the Songwriters Guild of America.
Wow.
Like, and when I say young, I mean like at like 6,
Jesus.
something like that. Like, yeah. So, I mean,
wow.
Yeah, and they're a musical family in New York and blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
But, like, it's just still, this is how long it takes, you guys.
You guys.
And that's with everything.
Yeah.
All the talent in the world, good-looking front people, like, Gracie is cute as hell.
Family in the industry, essentially, as well. But,
Yeah, they're Nepo babies, but they're proving it.
Like, having done, how often do you hear of a band slugging it out in house parties and college campuses anymore? I don't hear that as much.
No, and that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that was 5 years ago, like, that they were doing the independent band thing that we talk about from decades ago that we used to do. Yeah. They did it that way.
Wow. Yeah. It's fascinating to me.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I love the story. I love the vibe.
Yeah.
I love it all.
The thing I think we're onto right now is there is a path, and it does require a degree of persistence. and integrity.
And it's not just the old folks.
No, it's not. It's not.
These are young people. I mean, they're in their 20s. I think she's 22.
Yeah.
He's in his later 20s or mid 20s. And like they've been doing it, since she was 16, I think.
Wow.
And so like this isn't an old story and you guys made it because you could get into a van and drive around the country and tour and that's exactly how they did it.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine in town. He was playing with a let's say a smaller national act and was in town. And we had beers yesterday, and we talked about in the early 2000s, shall we say?
Are you going to say aughts?
No, I'm not, because I'm not a dick.
In the early 2000s,
we were, the amount of time that we spent in. I mean, I was 20 in my early to mid 20s. We were in a van, 200 days a year.
Yeah.
And eventually got a bus, and then a couple times we were on a plane. Get off my plane. And, but it was all that time spent, and then revisiting the same market every 6 to 8 weeks, and then blah, 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 blah. The same shit, doing the circles, doing the radiuses, like getting the routing right, getting your little bubbles. Just working, selling shit out of the trunk of your car. When you come back, all of a sudden you have 1,000 college kids screaming all the lyrics to your songs. They don't know what they mean. A lot of drug references. Thanks, D.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of that kind of stuff. And it worked. And it still works. Especially when you have...
it's just how long it takes.
Especially when you're looking at all the tours that are getting canceled right now. Right, Michael?
Well, and this is something like... when people... So I had someone come and go, why the fuck do you do the podcast? Why do you talk about this stuff to people? Like, all this information's out there. I'm like, yeah, I know. What we're trying to do is shorten your timeline to profitability.
Yes.
Right? That literally is what we're trying to do. You can make it 100 different ways, and you can go out and slug it out. The fact is, most bands don't last past 3 or 5 years. So, what we're trying to do is get you to the point where you can see amount of success and keep the band together while your drummer gets married.
Yeah.
Or before one of you gets a health problem, or whatever that thing is in your 20s that blows up bands. It's because, and they're like, we kind of just didn't make it. And it's because as an independent, you don't have this big financial backing and you can't withstand the dry years. Yeah. You got to just make it. But the cancellation of tours everywhere is like this nice little meme story that I wrote about that was like, I was on a conference call about this. Yeah. On a New York Times article. And there was like 4 of us that were sort of anonymously adding to this. One of the big things that happened, J-Lo canceled her huge comeback tour. Yeah. Which turned into a greatest hits tour. And still canceled it. And then Black Keys canceled their whole North America run. Yeah. While they're in London. And then it turns out that they fired their manager. Their managers, I should say. There are 2. Yeah. But they are under Irving Azoff. And, I don't remember the last time somebody fired Irving Azoff. Right. I mean, that's the guy that's been with the Eagles since, 1978. Yeah. If you get into Azoff's world, you kind of don't fire him. Not many people have seen the need to. But you shared with me something where they were like, we got fucked over and we're going to tell our
everybody
story.
All about it, yeah.
I found out that there was some other shenanigans happening out on the tour, but I can't confirm it, so I'm not going to say anything. Yeah. But there are a bunch of tours that, everybody's like, it's prices. Prices are the problem. And it's just so much more complicated than that. Yeah. We're still working out COVID reschedules. And I know that just sounds crazy to people, but you just have to understand a lot of the music business happens 2 years in the future, especially at the top level. Yeah. And then when you have reschedules, you have add-ons. So if you do really well, promoters, managers, bookers, or whatever, they want to take every opportunity they get. So if you come out on your reschedule for COVID, this happened at Def Leppard. You come out and you do the Motley Crue tour or whatever, and then those, the management and the production companies are like, hey, you want to do it again next summer? And they're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need you with Motley Crue. Let's go ahead and do you again. And so they're going to do it again. And, and then you have a ton of legacy acts out there who have some health problems. Heart had to cancel a few.
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen had to cancel a few. For some health things, and it just happens. You have a VAT tax that's happening in Europe that's really, really killing a lot of European tours.
Yeah.
And in the background of all of this, which is, I just want everyone to understand how important this is as you work your way up in the live touring industry. There are only so many tour buses. There are only so many front of house mixers and front of house boards. There are only so many lighting rigs. We're not manufacturing them every time you go on tour. A lot of times people are leasing them or they buy them and then they put them in their warehouse. Like Foo Fighters has their own fucking setup, but you try to do like your own big setup for a tour. You buy and manufacture shit, and then for the next tour, you design the stage and see what you can reuse. Yeah. And then you sell off the rest or you lease off the rest. And famously, years and years ago, like on the tour bus thing, Taylor Swift's dad realized, oh my God, tour buses is a problem. Like, this is going to be a fucking problem. So he bought all the tour bus companies. If you want to use a tour bus now, you are renting it from Taylor Swift. It's basically her dad that owns it, Scott. But most likely that's where it's going. And so so then you look at the massive tours that are still going on. Taylor Swift. That takes up a massive amount of people and material and equipment. Yeah. And so it's all of these things. Also, post-COVID, there are a lot more people this year traveling. And I made this point on this post that I wrote that was basically this. The J-Lo tour, and I can't remember the other one that was canceled that was just recently, their tickets went on sale in February of this year.
Yeah.
The tour was going to start in May, late May, early June.
Yeah, that's tight.
I bought tickets to Foo Fighters on October 2nd of last year for a gig that will happen in August of this year.
Yeah.
10 months later.
Yeah.
And that is the nature of tickets right now. And so if you are selling your tickets later, and this goes to clubs too, we talk about this all the time. When should you start selling tickets? When should you tell your fans? If you're looking at February and you're like, okay, I'm looking at my summer and what tickets I'm going to buy for concerts, God damn it, a lot of people have already bought all of them.
Exactly.
I have 2 or 3 shows every month I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm not adding.
Yeah.
And there's people who are like, well, because the biggest thing about concerts is it's a local thing. You have to be home to be able to go to the concert in your home area.
Yeah.
And if you're like, you know what, we're going to take a road trip this year. It's been too long. Or we've held off on a vacation to see our grandma or to go see our mom in California or going to Florida or whatever.
What do you mean?
And you're like, yeah, I don't want to risk it.
I saw the Jane's Addiction put the original lineup put out, they're finally going out, and they're going out with Love and Rockets, right? So I'm like, fuck yeah, this is college for me. I'm really excited about that idea. And I can't, they're not coming to Denver, but the tickets that are available like in New Orleans are they're stupid expensive, first off. And I'm like inclined to go on a trip and go on an adventure to see them, because that sounds like fun, Go plan a little trip somewhere, and in the middle of it, have this little, thing to, go see in the middle of it. Like, we're going to go do this whole thing. It's going to be an event. We're going to do the, VIP meet and greet. It's going to be stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. How much do you know how much they were?
They were any with the...
I want to take a guess. 300? 350?
300 was the GA tickets. And I think the ones the highest level I saw was $860.
Yeah, for Jane's Addiction.
So
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, well, and it's, you know, like I'm sitting here and I'm going, and I just bought. There's a Canadian band I really like called Marianas Trench, fronted by Josh Ramsey, one of the best Canadian songwriters right now. Does a bunch of shit with fucking Chad Kroeger and Nickelback and all those guys. He has a record called The Josh Ramsey Show that came out a couple years ago. It's really fucking good. And so they're coming to Denver, and my tickets for them were $41.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, pricing is weird, but like the tours that are selling through, I had mentioned this before. Hootie and the Blowfish are coming out and doing a 40 run. Mm-hmm. Dave Matthews Band is doing a pretty big run. You got Billy Joel and Sting.
Oh shit!
And I mean, some of the biggest ones out there are triple that amount, and they're sold out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so it's not just pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, to pretty much anyone listening to this, that's all too fucking expensive. I get it. There's also something that's kind of behind this that is, I hate this, because I was in this conversation about 4 months ago with promoters talking about this shit. And the promoters were saying the only way they can beat ticket scalping is by jacking the prices so high, it doesn't make sense to block buy the tickets when they're released.
What?
I'm like, that's not the only way. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
Like, by gouging the customers to stop whatever percentage of scalpers there are.
Yeah.
Which, again, we are fighting about 10 or 15% of tickets.
Yeah.
That's really what you're looking at with the scalpers and this argument about resale markets and stuff like that. But, like, it's like that's why my ticket is $350.
Yeah.
To go see some sort of mid-level band, like in a shitty seat, and pay $12 for a beer. Yeah. You know, and we had this argument about local shows, right? We were talking to those local people just recently about, hey, how come people are leaving shows or not coming to them? And I explained it's kind of a pricing mechanism on the other side. If I paid $20 for your show, let's say me and my significant other, I'm $25. I'm in for $50, okay? But if we go to the show, I'm probably at about $150 before I leave, right? For Ubers, $50 both ways, and $50 for the whole thing, and then probably about $100 bar tab with tip, and that's with no dinner, no snacks, no little extra things, no buying a joint before you go, whatever. Like, that's just pricing all in. Yeah. So if I don't go to the $50 show I spent tickets on, I saved $150. But if I have tickets that are $300, right, to some big show at the big stadium or at the big arena, that $150 is about the same. Yeah. It's still about the same. 2 or 3 beers ish, a water or two. And the Ubers to go, it's a little bit harder, but it's about the same. Yeah. $150 to $200 for the night out for 2 without dinner. And so, like, if you're in for $600 and you're like, well, I'm still going to be spending $150, $200 for the show, you're going to go. Yeah. You're going to go because that's just the night out. That's just how much it costs to go. Yeah. And so I was like, I think that some people don't understand that the reverse mechanism is working too, where it's like you try to sell the show so cheap that you think there's no reason why anyone wouldn't come. And it's like, look at a bar tab these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at 3 or 4 beers at $8 to $12 a piece.
Yeah. I went to Red Rocks
plus a tip.
I went to Red Rocks for a show on Friday. I went to see Sarah McLachlan. And we had very good seats, and they were expensive. But the rationalization was, she doesn't tour that often. We're probably not going to do that again. And we got to see it, and it was fucking awesome.
And summer at Red Rocks.
Summer at Red Rocks, yeah. You know, so the idea of it being, you know, like Cyndi Lauper's going out on her Girls Who Just Want to Have Fun One More Time show or whatever tour it is, which is let's see if we can sell this out, you know, thing. And, you know, like I will probably go because I want to see her because I've never seen her before. And I doubt I would go again. You know, I've seen the Rolling Stones. I don't think I'll ever go again. But I spent the money once, you know, and it made sense for me to spend it at the time. So it's, you know, the idea of it being an event, but the the tours that come through and they come through like, and they just keep coming through and they just keep coming and they just keep coming and they just keep coming. I don't want to see Def Leppard and Journey again. I've already seen them. I've already seen Heart.
No.
I've already seen Tesla. I've already seen, Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
I don't need that anymore. Not for me. Now, there might be another generation of people that want to see that, but I don't need to see another No More tours from Ozzy, right?
No,
and because I've already done it. And so the question, that I have is what is the next thing that's happening? Who is the next? I mean, the Eras tour, like I would go see Taylor Swift again because I know the show is going to be different next time. I know it's going to be a different adventure. Rolling Stones aren't putting on a new show. Def Leppard is not putting on a new show. Billy Joel is not putting on a new show.
No. And I got to say, I mean, Taylor, what she's doing in Europe with adding the 7 or 8 songs. I mean, just please put that on film and put it back on and put it on Disney as the
special
Eras
edition
tour part 2.
Yeah. Eras tour.
I'll watch it all night long. Yeah. But and I was also thinking, is there another artist that's out there? Okay, when you go and see a legacy artist and they have a new record out, right? And they say, this one's from our new album.
I'm going to the bar.
I'm going to the bar.
Equivalent
I'm
of
going
a
to have a
bass solo.
smoke, going to get a beer, going to pee, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. Probably I don't care. The exact opposite happened with Taylor Swift, where she's like, this is from my new album.
Yeah.
And everyone lost their mind that she's doing the new shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's another, Billy Joel has a song out. I don't even know if there's another artist that can pull that shit off. I know this has become a Taylor Swift podcast, but so I'm not going to go into that. But I do think that that's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
It is pretty fucking amazing. I mean, even Metallica is like, hey, this is off our new album.
Yeah.
Everybody's like,
yeah.
I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
I do, but this is when I go.
Yeah. Yeah. This
Foo Fighters kind of pulls it off because they have hits every new album.
Plus, Dave is so fucking charming. I mean, there's something to be said for a front person or the person who's got the microphone and got your attention. It's same thing with Gary Lightbody from Snow Patrol, and I know everybody likes Snow Patrol, but that guy is charming as fuck, and he's Scottish, and he's hilarious. And I didn't move the last time I saw Snow Patrol because I was so engaged with him as a front person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that has something to do with it. And, to a certain extent, the legacy acts, they don't have that gear anymore, where they can shift into, where they're engaging and charming and pulling you towards them. I don't know. I haven't seen a legacy act in a while, but,
dude, I feel so bad about the Heart thing. I think I told you this. So when Heart was going to come out, I was like, oh, because I was like, that is someone I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason, they never really toured Denver. I never was. They did. I think they did on Bad Animals.
Well, the last time they were
but
here, they got rained out at Red Rocks with I think it was Cheap Trick or somebody like that. They got fucked.
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago, and they literally got rained out to the point that they had a whitewater rapids running the stairs at fucking Red Rocks.
Yeah, and so they announced that they were coming to Red Rocks, and I was like, okay, check, Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Love it. So it's not Biddlers or some bullshit like that. So it's like Red Rocks. That's a check. Heart. Haven't seen Heart. Nancy Wilson's one of my guitar influences. I think that Anne is one of the best vocalists that keeps not being mentioned when everyone's like, Freddie Mercury.
She's my top 5.
Or this.
Yeah.
And it's like, where the fuck is put Anne in there? And what they've done their whole career and the changes that they went through. It's just amazing, right? And then, so what I did is when I saw that they were going to be coming out, I went and I looked at some of their warm-up gigs.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, thank you. She wasn't going for the notes.
Yeah.
Anne wasn't going for the notes. Clearly, Nancy was being backed, way backed, by a younger guitarist on the far left on some of the more
that's unfortunate.
difficult parts.
Yeah.
Not that she can't play it. I know she can. But Anne just wasn't there vocally. And I don't want to see Barracuda if she doesn't go, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
And and so I saw that. I was like, no, I'm out. Because then I looked at the tickets. $400 a ticket.
Yeah.
I was like, for Red Rocks GA, get the fuck out of here. So never felt better about a decision.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm so happy. I don't need to see. It was just like the last Phil Collins thing.
Yeah.
I've already seen Phil Collins and Genesis, and so when it came back around the last time, I think you went, right. You had some friends that had a suite.
Yes.
So that I would have done that had you fucking invited me. But I was like, no, I don't want to see Phil on a chair.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I want to remember it differently.
Yeah. It's that's
It's like Kiss. I'm not going to go see the last Kiss tour.
I'm not going to go see that either. I went and saw the reunion tour where they had Ace and Peter out with them, and that was the last time I saw Kiss. I haven't seen them since. And that was like, I think that was the 1900s there, Michael.
This is just like Ozzy
I felt
tours. You're so right about that.
I remember seeing, like, I saw some videos of Ann Wilson singing Barracuda recently, and I also, like, it was one of those things where I'm like grateful I have already seen them, and it's just there's a point where I understand the desire to create and perform, but Joni Mitchell has a cane and she stabs people with it repeatedly. She is doing whatever the fuck she wants because she's Joni fucking Mitchell. She'll sing it however her voice is that night. Tom Waits sings it however his voice is that night.
Good point.
And if he ever fucking goes on tour ever again, you can bet your sweet dick I will be in the front row because he's one of my all-time, especially from that perspective of just sing it where you are. And I would love to see that Heart tour. Why don't you guys play it where you are? I want to see that. I would rather see that show. That
was basically the Love Mongers version of that.
Yeah. Fine. Fair. But yeah, Ann is in my top 5 singers of all time, along with Freddie Mercury, Chris Cornell, and Whitney Houston. And it's just, I want to hold on to, I want to remember it the way I remember it, I don't know if I want to go see one of my heroes struggle. I just don't.
No. Not for 150 maybe.
Yeah, but even then, I love her too much.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
So I don't know. That's weird.
But yeah, in that case, the 400 really, I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, in this economy.
And they also had to cancel some shows because she's having some health issues. They said it's for a routine surgery or something like that. They had to cancel some shows. So, it's our heroes are worthy.
Ain't no routine surgery in your 60s, though.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's happening, though. We're in that space where all the people that we grew up enjoying as the young and spry musicians are now of a certain age,
Yeah, and that's okay. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
But
but like Robert Plant's still singing it in F.
Oh my God! I told you about the festival I did it with, and he was. I don't think it was Band of Joy, but it was one of his Robert Plant things. And I'm standing having a conversation with a friend of mine on the side of the stage, and I watched an entire room of rock stars shit their pants when Robert Plant walked through. And the guy was so kind and so nice. Walked on stage, mowed everybody over, middle of the day in California, and it was just. The guy is fucking amazing. Still amazing.
Yeah. Still amazing. Yeah. All right, let's get to a question. Yeah. We had a question. You had a question.
I had a question.
Actually.
Yeah.
That is basically, what is your take on text providers for music marketing? Who have you used? What do you think?
Yeah. Right? That was pretty much it. I got that question.
Is that roughly it?
And I hadn't ever used them. I've seen them, you get the QR code up on the big screen at Fiddler's Green, that amphitheater we don't like, or whatever. And this says, support the, sign up for shit here, get a text message back or whatever. And I asked, and I saw it, and I got a question from one of the artists I'm working with about the validity and efficacy of that system. And so I texted you and said, have you ever used this before in any of your campaigns? Because I haven't. And so go.
I have for myself back in the day on SMS, but I have used too with other marketing, helping other bands do it. So let me start with this. If you are doing the text thing, Textedly is one, TEXTEDLY.com. And Active Campaign is another one, activecampaign.com. There are a few other ones that I don't need to mention, but those are the two best ones, in my opinion, for musicians. Okay, so that's where we start if you really want to get into this. But here's the thing. It's surprisingly expensive. Like for under 1,000 subscribers, for around 1,000 people, and that's what they call them as subscribers, you're talking about 20 to 30, sometimes as high as $50 a month, depending on where they are regionally. And that is for a limited amount of texts per person. They have to opt in. It's a long process legally to opt in. If you've ever done this with a band, you know that you have to click some buttons and shit to be like, yes, I'm okay with getting shit. Yes, I'm okay with notifications. It's all right. Blah, blah, blah. If you don't have a perfect list, like say you've gotten a list going in your band where you've gotten emails and texts on your list, like from live shows, you're going to be pissing a lot of money away when you port those numbers in. A lot of them will be fake. Some of them will be Google Voice numbers that are like, basically like a junk mail for text that some younger people use. There are some forwarding text numbers that younger people use that isn't their actual phone number. But like they're supposed to choose their provider because even providers between T-Mobile and AT&T and Mint and whatever it is, although Mint I think is now owned by T-Mobile, but each one of those providers has like certain rules and shit that they have to abide by for the FCC. It gets a little bit more complicated. So all of this is saying that the gurus will tell you, you need to have a great email list. Okay. But what you actually need is a great open rate. An email list doesn't mean shit if no one's opening it. And a lot of people use, like their old Yahoo email to sign up, just to give you something. And then the real good marketers will say, well, no. You need to have text. That's where the kids are. The kids are in text. And so you should have a text list. Well, fucking A. But now my band's spending $50 a month, $40 a month and having to pay attention to this. And while that is true, text is what more people use than email because a lot of people's email is just junk shit all the time now, especially during elections every 2 years and a general election every 4 years, where people sign up for one side or the other and they start getting tons of fucking texts and emails.
Yeah.
And it causes burnout. Here's something that no one's telling you. Neither one of them work very well.
Yeah.
Neither one of them work very well. Now ask yourself, you are a huge fan of Muse, of, let's say, Jane's Addiction, whatever, right? Are you on their text list?
No, I'm not.
You may be on their email list, but you don't know.
I'm not on their email list.
Yeah, probably not.
And
most likely.
Yeah.
Now, we're older. I get that. We're older and we're already burned out.
Speak
and so the
for
young people are
yourself,
like,
young.
well, I'm older. I'm so much older.
So much older.
But so I will just tell you from experience, this is a year and a half ago. One of the bands that was doing this, they got so much bad feedback from their texting that they had, I want to say it was damn near 40% stop rates.
Wow.
So when you get unwanted texts, you can text back stop, and it's supposed to automatically stop it. And especially if you're using a platform, they follow the law pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
And they won't do that. Now, if you think you can cobble this together yourself and send it out from your own phone, you do not know what the fuck you're doing. You cannot. Basically, over about 100 people, you can't send out that many texts a day. There's just no way to fucking do it. You will need a platform. There is no way to do it. So just don't even go down that path. You will try to do it and you will fuck it up. And so, because I've known people who've tried to do it. Well, why can't I just do it from my text? I have my text on my computer. I could just send my text. No, you can't do it. And people hate it. And here's the problem. In theory, this all sounds good. But what really started happening is like, why are you... Okay, so think about this, musicians. Why are you getting a fan on a text list? Specifically, why? What will you be texting them? Well, I want to text them shows. Okay. Are you playing 4 times this month? 6 times this month? Are you targeting zip codes? Because if I get a text from you that you're playing a show 4 hours away from me, it may only take one text for me to go, fuck you, I'm out. I don't want you to text me. You're bugging me at 9 o'clock. Also, what time you text totally matters. Someone gets a too early morning text, too late night text, and they're like watching a movie. It may just hit them wrong where they're like, what the fuck is this? I don't want this. Why are you texting me late at night about a show that is, and also, when are you texting them for what date, right? Are you texting them the night of the show? Like, hey, we're playing tonight.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's stupid. But also, are you texting them 2 weeks out from the show? Also stupid. Like, they may not go, what are you going to do? Have a link in there? And they click on the link and go buy tickets? Oh, shit, I didn't know. Now I can go buy tickets. I know it makes sense in theory to be on a text list or to be on an email list, but the world has completely changed. And I'm going to tell you, as a music guru, that neither one of them work well for most people. For most, that doesn't mean everybody. There are some people that don't have a lot of emails that come in and they love seeing a new email from their favorite band. There are some people that don't use text that much or are not in 5 fucking group texts like I am. That, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And so what do? Honestly, the best way to reach people now is social targeting. They're used to it. They're used to seeing it in their feed that the show is coming up, low ticket alert. They're used to seeing it, hey, last minute, we're playing tonight in this zip code. They're used to seeing a little bit of a sales pitch in their socials. Does it take more work? Fuck yeah. You got to know where your people are, which platform. Is it old people Facebook? Is it young people Snapchat? Is it hot person Instagram? Is it TikTok? You know,
Yeah.
And so you got to know where they are. It's not Twitter, but you got to know where they are. It is the best way to do it. But like, listen, I know all the music marketing companies are going to tell you to build out that email list. That's the way you do it. And you should you should do it no matter what, right? And you should have the text option. But you should be so goddamn careful with how you treat your fan.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. Your fan is your friend. If you're not going to text your friend something, why would you text that fan something? Because that will piss somebody off and be like, oh, this is just a sales thing, right? You're just trying to, and it's also not personalized. You know, when you're sending out a text, you're like, we're playing Friday. Everybody come join. Why? Why am I coming? How much does it cost? You know how many times I have seen a text from a show that is like, it's Saturday, August 3rd, whatever it is, right? No time on it. I assume it's 7. I assume it's 8 doors. I assume it's 9.
Yeah.
But I don't know when exactly.
Yeah.
And like, what the fuck? Like, it just is stupid. So counterintuitively, email lists are very tough to work these days. Don't spend too much money on those. Text, you got to have a really good relationship with that fan that gives you that, and you can't abuse it. And you better know how to actually target. And when I'm saying how to target, these are these things that we're talking about. When do you send a text? How many times do you send a text to a fan?
Yeah.
For what are you sending a text to a fan?
Yeah.
You know, there's a band that I know that only sends texts when a new song comes out. They don't use texts at all for live shows because they play a fuckload. Right? But only new songs, like, and they do it as like a call to action. Like, hey, let's get all the streams on this night. The song is coming out. That's somewhat exciting. It's somewhat of a call to action.
Yeah.
It's not actually asking you to buy anything just yet. I'm okay with that. But so yeah, okay, ask me some questions about it because I know this is probably going to be controversial, but the idea is that email lists are good, kind of out of fashion. Text lists are better. You can really fuck it up. And the best way to target people is actually on social, which is the hardest of the 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's the thing is like I the number of times I'm having a conversation with an artist or a band or whatever, and they want to circumvent the social marketing piece of this. They want it to be. I don't want to fight anybody else for the attention of my fan. I've got their email, right. And so that means that they want to hear from me if they sign up on my mailing list, right?
How good is your email writing? You see bands' emails, holy shit,
they're terrible.
When you open it, it's like 3 fucking paragraphs every show that they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Yeah. I do not like I like the idea of writing. Kimbra is doing some interesting email stuff right now, and it's less of an email about like the stuff she was just out with Jacob Collier for a couple of legs of his tour. And she's one I do subscribe to because she so rarely tours that like when she tours I want to go fucking see it because she's absolutely amazing. But her emails right now are kind of more like, every couple of weeks I get like here's what's been going on the road, and here's my blog, and here's kind of how I feel about stuff. It's more of a writings and musings, which is not what I signed up for.
Newsletter.
Yeah. I wanted to know how you're doing. We've got a new song in the new Mission Impossible movie. I brought this. I'm now endorsed by this bikini line. I'm sorry, that was really sexist. I didn't mean it like that. But you know what I mean? Like I want to know what's going on.
Me too.
Want to know what's. Let's go, girls.
All right, boys.
Can I do it like that? All right, boys. All right, boys. Anyway. It's like that's not what I signed up for, and so there's part of me that's like, I don't know if I want this email anymore. So right. It depends on your content really fucking matters here. If you're creating engaging content, like I might start drawing a comic book for my email.
Yeah.
Why not?
And also, like, how emails come in. Is it starting in promotions? Is it going to trash? Mm-hmm. Is it in updates? Is it in social?
Yeah.
And like, there's,
Yeah.
It's just not easy.
Yeah. It's not easy. And it requires time.
And everyone wants a silver bullet, right? Like, email started out as a silver bullet. I don't want to compete for attention.
Yeah.
Silver bullet, one-on-one email. Mm-hmm. Well, every fucking marketer ruined that, including Bed Bath & Beyond, right?
And look what happened to them.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, well, text. Yeah, I want a silver bullet. Text. Man, I'm right in their phone. All they got to do is open the app and buy the ticket and then open up Google Pay and then pay and it's going to be great. Okay. Now realize how many texts you get every day. And the thing is that it's so much worse by age.
Yeah.
Talk to anyone in their 20s who they live their life in DMs and texts.
Yeah.
And you think that you're going to break through in that and not get a stop from them? Of course they're,
Yeah.
Of course it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And for the people that don't want to compete on the social media stuff to target, well, that's where they are. Mm-hmm. That's what they're looking at for joy. And again, this goes back to giving joy. Mm-hmm. It's not just we're playing a gig. Make a funny fucking piece of content to entertain them that also happens to mention when the gig is.
I had a thing that popped up the other day. It was about what social media you want to... Hold on, let me see if I can find it because I wrote it down. You want to educate, entertain, or inspire.
Duh.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the thing you're looking to do with your posts. And if you can do all three, fuck yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Those are my peopling posts. I'm educating you about people. I'm entertaining you about how pissed off I am.
Yeah, you had a good one the other day.
Inspiring you
about that.
To never go out.
Never leaving the house again.
So I had this conversation knowing that this was coming up with somebody else, a mutual friend in the music industry. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, okay, but big bands, I mean, they do this. I mean, you're everybody knows I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan. And they're like, are you on the Foo Fighters list? And I was like, no. I'm probably on their email list, but I would never open it. And they're like, well, then how do you know? I was like, well, you see, all of the other platforms let you know, right? Yeah. Like Ticketmaster sends you the email. Live Nation sends you the email. Songkick, some of the other ones that even if you list your shit on there, that's when people can get the digest of like comedians. I go and I see a lot of comedy. But I get Comedy Works.
Yeah.
I don't get those each of them. Comedy Works is like, hey, June 2nd, or this is coming up, this is whatever. Oh, awesome. And also, honestly, a lot of times I do learn about it on social media and be like, hey, I'm swinging through on so-and-so. They do like a little video of it. Tickets go on sale on Friday. Boom. And by the way, I'm that guy that shares that with everyone else. And so then they go, oh shit, when do tickets go on sale? You got a pre-sale code? And so that is actually the nature of the beast and how it actually works for real ticket sales. Now, Taylor Swift is a different thing. I'm sure her army is that way. K-pop people, very different thing. God bless you if you guys have gotten to that point where your mailing lists are that active. Where they're like, oh my God, we're doing a word search because she wore red today. Like whatever. Good for you. But most of you probably aren't there with your fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, is that those platforms send out those digests that should have you on them. And you're probably not, because you're trying to be on a one-on-one conversation with your fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult. This is also why you still should apply to calendar stuff in your local market. Your local like rag, your local New Times, your local whatever, because there are people on Thursday night, they're like, honey, what's going on this weekend? That's where they're looking. They're not going to every band's website. They're not going to every, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not really doing that. They're like, kind of, what's going on? And if you don't make one of those what's going on lists, they may never see it. And that's when you get so many people are like, I didn't even fucking know you guys were playing this weekend.
Yeah.
And that's when bands start bitching. I posted about it twice. I put an event on Facebook.
Yeah.
How did you not know?
Well, and look, even like all that stuff, inviting people to event, like spamming your friend list with event invitations. I don't know.
It's very different. So let's wrap this up a little bit. There is no easy way. It sucks. And no one's going to tell you that, right? Some people are going to tell you the easiest way is to build an email list, and I'm telling you all the downfalls.
Yeah.
Someone else is going to tell you, wow, fuck that old guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The kids are into text. And I'm telling you about the text thing from real world examples, by the way, bands that play 200 shows a year that tried the text thing. And it's like, well, why am I spending $1,000 a year on this? If I'm getting a bunch of stops? Not only that, you're going to piss off some fans if you do it wrong. This is so important for you guys to understand. You can piss off a fan and they're never going to tell you. You're not going to get feedback. Somebody's not going to text you or write you a nice little email. The reason why I'm not coming to see your shows is because you sent me too many texts. No, nobody's going to tell you that. They're just going to stop and not fucking care anymore. And like, it just shows you about professionalism, and it's difficult. And so, but that doesn't mean neither of those are worth it. This comes down to money, time, and effort and expertise, right? If you have enough shows where you can put the money and really manicure a list, and by the way, I'll give you the pro answer to this, okay? The real answer is you should have all of them.
Absolutely.
The real answer is you should have segmented email lists about high-frequency users, low-frequency fans. You should have text lists about super fans, about people that only come to maybe 1 or 2 shows a year, and those are the ones you send those texts to. You should have like a social media marketing platform like spreadsheet about the people you want to target that are high frequency people or always online versus the people who just are online just like randomly every now and again. But again, most of you do not know your fans that well. And so I would start with getting to know your fans that well. But I'm telling you, one of the bands I worked with, that's what they do. It's expensive. They have a 2,000 person or a $2,000 a month part-time person who does this for them. So, you know, don't let the drummer do it.
Fucking drummers.
Shots fired. What's up? Hey, Trevor.
Yeah, hey, Trevor. Kelsey, is she giving you the eye edge? Like, let's wrap it up, fuzzballs.
She is. Let's move on. Kelsey just sent me a text. It just says stop.
That's amazing. Well played. Well played.
You're fucking amazing, Kelsey. You're the best. Okay, let's get to the Sync of the Week. The Sync of the Week. Shout out to Bradley Weaver Music on this. Yeah. He stitched us on the Sync of the Week, did his own Sync of the Week, which I would like to see more of. So if you have your own Sync of the Week, this is your opportunity to stitch this right here and give us your Sync of the Week with the movie or TV show or commercial or sporting event that you saw that used an awesome song drop. Tell us who did the song, what the production was, and if you can find the music supervisor, now you're getting it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Stu, what's your Sync of the Week?
Okay, so we're at that point of the year where all the season finales are happening. A lot of short television seasons this year, thanks to some, shenanigans, devised shenanigans from last year. So, like we're getting 10 to 12 episode seasons on, major networks. And so I was watching the season finale, episode 10 of Will Trent, the show on ABC about a dyslexic Georgia, what's he, like, he's god damn it, Georgia Bureau Investigation type of GBI type person, right? And it's kind of bad. It's kind of like a crime procedural kind of thing, and he's just got a unique way he sees the world. It's fucking cool. But there was a placement of a Brittany Howard song called Presence, but it was a remix. The Dragon remix of Presence by Brittany Howard in Will Trent season 2 episode 10. And here's why I picked it. It was a very, very uncomfortable scene, very, very difficult. You knew where it was going. It was very, very, I was like, ah, and the song matched the mood. I hated it. Right? It was very uncomfortable. It's a great remix. It was not something that I was very uncomfortable watching it. The song was like, it was jarring. The remix was, it was difficult to listen to, while all this is going on the screen. So the pairing of the audio and it was really well done because I don't want to give any spoilers, sweetie, or anything like that, but it was a very, very uncomfortable thing because with this song going in the background, it was, you knew where the scene was going and you really were doing that. It's still that end of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith thing, where you're just kind of hoping Anakin pulls his head out of his ass and everybody figures it out. Having watched Star Wars for 30 fucking years.
Some of us weren't.
Yeah, fine. Like, look at this bitch getting his ass handed to him, burned alive. Awesome.
Kill him, Jar Jar.
Anyway, so that was Presence, Brittany Howard, the Dragon remix on Will Trent, season 2, episode 10. Jen Malone, the supervisor on that. Apparently, co-supervisor Whitney Pilzer on that one as well.
Very nice.
2 of them.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of two supervisors.
Two soups.
Lately.
Yeah.
Which I think that is coordinators moving themselves up and getting a little bit more credit, usually.
Good.
Which is nice. Good. It's basically someone that, probably someone that actually got the clearance.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you got the clearance, so fucking now you're the supervisor.
We have clearance?
So.
Sorry, Victor. Yeah. Roger. Victor.
Roger. My Sync of the Week is from Hitman on Netflix.
Excellent. Just started watching it.
And did you? What do you think? Did you just start?
I'm about an hour into it. Well, it's summer break around here, so there's a teenager making the joint smell interesting. So
I used to do that too, man.
Yeah. Carry on, the Hitman. It's a fun fucking movie.
Sorry. Stu's kid's a lot better than I was. So, Hitman, movie on Netflix. Glenn Powell is in it, and a few other fantastic people. I fucking love this. I loved this movie.
Good.
It's a Netflix movie. It's not going to win awards. It's a rom-com with a twist. Got a little bit of crime in it, but it's kind of ridiculous in a way. But it's also ridiculous in a fun way. Glenn Powell is stunning on film. The camera loves him. Richard Linklater, however you fucking say it, I'm not really sure. But is the director of it. There's a huge long story that I'm not going to get into about how they made this, but Adriana, I think is her name, who plays Maddie in it. She is a revelation. She is stunning and smart and fantastic. I think she's dating Jason Momoa, or did, something like that. But anyway.
Me too.
Hitman.
Yes.
Yeah, you too. We'll fight over it. So Hitman, and it's New Orleans Bump by Jelly Roll Morton. This is the song that starts the whole damn thing. You will find that almost all of the songs in this are Zydeco, New Orleans-based music. It sets the scene because this could literally take place in any city. There's a little bit of thing about alligators, but that could be Florida or whatever. But this is why I love a lot of music supervision that does this. It really sets it in New Orleans because pretty much no one in it has a New Orleans accent. Like, they're not playing up the New Orleans. No one's eating a benet. They're not really down on St. Charles Street. Like, there are a few scenes where you do see that you're in New Orleans, but they don't beat you over the head with it, which I really thought was interesting. They let the music set the scene of New Orleans specifically, and New Orleans Police Department. You eventually see New Orleans police people there. But New Orleans Bump is a fucking great song. Jelly Roll Morton's fucking awesome. But there's some Leon Redbone, of course. There's some things like that are through it. But that's why I love this song, because this is what music supervision is for. It is to set the scene, but also get you into the feel of the movie. And sometimes it's not just the scene, it's like what we're in for the whole thing. And I love that sort of a time and place, and making sure that it's not New Jersey. It's not Florida. It's not, you know, it could be anywhere that has a beach, but it's not. So it sets it up, and I love it. Music supervisors, again, dual, Megan Courier and Randall Poster are both the music soups of this. So that is my sync.
That's a fantastic choice. I have one Glenn Powell gripe. You ready? Like, that man is. It's like he is the character he's playing in this movie. He is slightly too attractive to play.
Until he becomes Ron.
Oh, then Ron. But Ron. I like Ron.
How are you going to pull Ron off if you can't?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, for those of you who've seen it, you'll know what we're talking about. It's fun. I'm rewiring my pedal board, which is my least favorite thing to do besides changing strings on my guitar. I fucking hate doing that. Is that weird? Am I weird? I'm weird.
No,
so
it's not. That's something you do in your 20s when you're doing too much speed and learn how to play guitar.
I rewire my pedal board and I'll finish the movie while I'm doing that.
I don't like rewiring anything while the light is out, like while the sun's out. That's a nighttime smoking too many cigarettes thing.
Yeah, I quit smoking, so I can't.
Pull out the solder iron, and you're like, "Be careful."
Yeah. I like
soldering, solder iron.
Soldering iron. I got that. Yep, I feel you. All
right, let's wrap this sucker up, everybody. Hey, make sure to check out StuMillerMusic.com. That's StuMillerMusic.com. He's got a few slots open later on in the summer.
In August, I've got a couple of slots open for the mixings and the producings.
Get on the mixings. Yeah. I've heard some of your guys' shit. Remember to rate and subscribe. Give us 5 stars over there on Apple Podcasts. If you can't leave a hilarious comment, you should cuss as much as you want, because Apple just loves that. And the AI is now taking over everything, and they don't understand it. So it's great. You can follow us anywhere you follow people at 2 Shots Music Pod. That's the number 2 Shots Music Pod, wherever you follow people. And you can email us questions, 2shotsmusicpod@gmail.com at any time.
Yes, please.
And until we talk to you next time, we hope you write a great song, and we love you so much. We hope you have a great week.
And if I have a great time, write a great song. We love you. Bye-bye.
1,